full of bliss, giving joy transcendent, of higher knowledge, the abode, dual no more, clear as the heavens, known to all as thou art that. He is pure, permanent, unmoving, the everlasting seer of all, far, far beyond qualities and thought. Guru Lord, I bow to thee. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatetam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatetam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Shri Gurave Namah. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Bhagavan Krishna, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, and Gurudeva Paramahansa Yogananda. Saints and sages of all religions, we humbly bow to you all. O Divine Mother, inflame our minds with thy wisdom, inflame our hearts with thy love, inflame our souls with thine ever new joy. Om. Peace. Amen. This holy day, January 5th, marks the solar birthday, January 5th, of Paramahansa Yogananda, who was born on January 5th, 1893, in Gorakhpur, India. And his divine life was one that touched all of us and thousands of others, and continues to, year after year, in quite a magnificent life. What is a birthday for a guru? I think those of you who I'm talking to now, this community that we have, the community that I've been welcomed into, and the Song of the Morning community is a very special group of souls that has been a joy to get to know. And amongst this group, so many of you knew Yogacharya Oliver Black in person, in flesh, and spent a lot of time with him and really learned from him what it means to be a disciple, to be a yogi, to be a lover of God in this path of yoga, of Kriya Yoga. And so many of you who've come because of the universality of Yogananda's message of divine love in the context of many paths leading to the one goal. This ancient idea was brought from India. It is even in the oldest scriptures, in the Rig Veda, this concept that truth, the divine, is one, but it has many names. And so that universality was brought by Paramahansa Yogananda, and he really imbued it into the American culture to such an extent that nowadays that has become almost part of the culture, this idea that there are many ways to reach the one divine goal. So in that spirit we gather together to honor that life divine and that message. Those of us who are disciples have a special deep relationship with Gurudev, with Paramahansa Yogananda. And so this day has a very special significance because in a way his birth is directly connected to our own spiritual life, our own liberation. But anyone who's, even if you're watching this video now, you have some connection with him. And his love is a magnanimous love. And I dare say that none of us, none of you, I myself, we don't know how much he loves us. We don't know, we cannot fathom. His love for you is beyond your comprehension, beyond your expectation, beyond your heart's capacity to receive, because he loves you for who you are. He loves your soul. He sees your soul. And discipleship has nothing to do with it because that love flows equally to all. He was a Jagat Guru, meaning that he had a role that it affected the world, or at least a great part of the world, a great portion of the world. His message is still to this day reaching across the globe. But in that intimate connection between souls, I often reflect on what is that relationship, because that is the essence of the spiritual bond between a soul and a guru. In the autobiography of a yogi, the very first line of this tremendous book, which is not just a story or an account of his life or a life of saints, it's actually a scripture on these divine relationships, on the search for the guru and the divine experiences that come from that. So in the first sentence of the autobiography of a yogi, the characteristic features of Indian culture have long been a search for ultimate verities and the concomitant disciple-guru relationship. My own path led to a Christ-like sage. His beautiful life was chiseled for the ages. He was one of the great masters who are India's truest wealth. Emerging in every generation, they have bulwarked their land against the fate of ancient Egypt and Babylonia. This tradition of guru-disciple, which in India is called Guru Parampara, this unbroken lineage, link from one guru to a group of disciples. Then those disciples have disciples and so forth. And it goes on and on. And that divine relationship is so essential to the ancient teachings of India, which is called Sanatan Dharma, the eternal Dharma. It is not maintained by institution. There's no one book, like a holy book, like one Bible. There's no single authority that has maintained this religion. Even before the idea of religion existed, this ancient teaching of the soul communing with spirit, the soul returning back to that knowledge, union with the divine, in that divine love, divine bliss. That knowing, that science, that art, divine art, has always existed in India, and it has always been transmitted simply by a guru to a disciple. As simple as that. And therefore, that characteristic feature of India has been the search for truth, ultimate verities, the search for that ultimate truth. Each one of us at some point in our spiritual life begin to ask those questions, and that burning desire, I want to know the truth, I want to know why I am here, what is the purpose. We feel drawn to seek those ultimate truths. And the disciple-guru relationship, because in that relationship the truth is revealed. And Yoganandaji's path was led to one of these great masters, who is India's truest wealth. In every generation they are there. They're there now. But oftentimes, most of the time, they are hidden away, tucked away. As Yoganandaji once said, in India the guru sits in the forest, or in the retreat hermitage, or in the mountain caves, or in a temple. And the disciples, for that burning search and that longing, they're drawn to the guru. He says, but in America, the guru has to work for the disciples. And that is the great blessing that we acknowledge and we are so grateful for on a day like today. That he came here, and it wasn't just him, his lineage sent him. Again, this idea of this unbroken lineage between gurus and disciples, that it was Babaji in communion with other great souls like Bhagavan Krishna and Christ, these other, he mandated that Yoganandaji would come here. He sent, and Lahiri Mahashaya knew what Yoganandaji's role was. So he also, set up and said that to Shri Yukteswarji, they set up Shri Yukteswarji with Yoganandaji to train Yoganandaji, to prepare him for the West, and he came here. So really this great blessing that he came here is something that was set in motion long before he was even born. And that search for ultimate verities and for guru-disciple relationship, rather than us having to cross the waters of and travel and search in India, learn Hindi or learn Bengali, learn Sanskrit, and try to find there. Rather than that, it came to us. And what a great blessing, and a tremendous blessing that is. And so that is also something that we acknowledge. To come close to the Guru and be in his presence, to be in Yoganandaji's presence. I've often met people who say to me, well, I don't know if he's my Guru. I don't know if I am ready for this, or I don't know if I'm drawn to that group or that organization or whatever. These questions and these thoughts happen in the mind and in the emotions. But if he were in his physical form and invited us to come around him, or if we had the opportunity to be near him, none of those things would matter. Just sitting in his divine presence, where he calls forth God, the divine presence, to saturate us, then these other questions melt away, or at least for a period of time. And so those of you who are gathering for this celebration, I encourage you to just be with Yogananda. There's no condition to his love. If he's not your guru, he will help you find your guru. He has no selfish motive, no agenda, and honestly, you are very safe in his presence because of his purity and his divine communion with God, that what is meant to be for you will happen, and he will help that happen. So coming together in that spirit is a very joyous occasion. I want to just read a few stories that might give some insight to his divine life in the context of that guru-disciple relationship. As we know, he didn't find his guru for quite some time. Even though he was born with a divine realization, he was a perfected, liberated being. But nevertheless, he was born on earth. And when you're born on earth, you take on problems, whether it's voluntarily, like the divine ones who incarnate, they voluntarily take on karma. They take on a few desires just so they can be incarnate. Most of us, it wasn't our choice. We're still dealing with our own karma and our own delusions. And so he had tremendous struggles. He wrote that his sadhana was turbulent. So many times crying, grieving, seeking for his divine mother, especially after his own mother tragically died. And his search for a guru, which he didn't find. He didn't reach his guru. Lahiri Mahashaya blessed his life at a very young age while he was an infant. And then Lahiri Mahashaya left his body. But in 1906, there was a divine encounter where Lahiri Mahashaya came to the young Yogananda. So Yoganandaji was still named Mukunda, and he was about 13 or 14, around that time. And he went out with his younger brother to explore some areas of the city. And along the way back, they were rushing back to reach home in time. Otherwise, they were going to get a scolding and a beating from their elder brother for staying out too late. But on the way, he saw lychees, which are very delicious exotic fruit, and he couldn't resist, so he snuck into the orchard to pick some lychees from some stranger's orchard. He snuck in there, and his brother said, don't go in. He said, I'm going in. So they're in this orchard, and of course the younger brother is very nervous about going home late and getting in trouble. And he's with his older brother, who he looks up to, but he's nervous. So that's the setting. And again, the young Mukunda, Yoganandaji, is about 13 or 14. While Mejda is the young Mukunda, he was picking some luscious sweet lychees when he heard someone call his name. Mukunda! Startled, Mukunda stood still. All sense of adventure ended abruptly. Cautiously we moved in the direction from which the voice had come. The twilight was fast fading and we could not see far ahead in the shadows. But soon we discerned a man dressed in white. Seeing that we were afraid, he beckoned us closer in a friendly manner. Come, come. If he were the watchman here, how would he have known Mukunda's name? We advanced very slowly toward the gently smiling person. His form seemed lustrous with a wonderful light. I looked around to see where this light was coming from, and suddenly I saw Mukunda bow before the saint and touch his feet. The saint embraced Mukunda and kissed him on the forehead. I also bowed to the saintly figure. With a gesture of blessing, he said to us, Jayastu, which means victory be with you. And then he spoke to Mukunda. Mukunda, it is God's wish that I come to you today. Remember what I say to you. You have come on earth as God's representative to fulfill His wishes. Your body is His temple, sanctified by prayer and meditation. Do not run after material pleasures or satisfaction. You will show the way that leads to true happiness. And by your spiritual knowledge, you will deliver those who are suffering in ignorance. Never forget that you are one with Mahapurusha, the Great Spirit. You are one with Mahapurusha, attained only by those who are supremely successful in yoga meditation. Your body, mind, and life must never deviate from the thought of God, not even for a moment. The blessings of the Infinite are upon you. Your faith in Him must be absolute. He will protect you from all dangers. In this world, only He is eternal. All else is transient and unreliable. One day, your ideals of yoga will inspire all mankind. Mukunda, march onward. The saint then looked to me, perceiving my worry. Do not be troubled, my child. Go home freely. No one will notice that you are late. We started for home. After walking a short distance, we looked back and saw the saint blessing us with upraised hands. Then he vanished. I turned to Mukunda and spoke to him, but he wasn't listening. He was walking head down in a thoughtful mood. When we reached home, he went directly to his little room where he did his meditations. I was overjoyed to realize that neither father nor our elder brother were home to scold us. Mejda came to get me and brought me back by the hand to his meditation room and pointed to the picture of Lahiri Mahashaya and said, "Was it not he who spoke to us?" And I was astonished. It was he, but he had died long ago. How could he have come to us? This divine mission of Yoganandaji, that not even for a moment must his mind deviate from God. So divine. So his search continued. Here he's 13 or 14, and he had to finish his high school studies, and then his family tried to arrange for his marriage 3 times, and they failed. He felt the call, despite all family pressures. He tried to run off to the Himalayas, but he was brought back. His ardor was so intense. So finally, after finishing high school, he went to Varanasi, the very holy city, and there hoped to begin his spiritual search. And he was there with a very revered Swami Dayananda. But the young Mukunda realized that they were more focused on the organization than on sadhana, and that's what he wanted. He wanted to meditate more, and he was criticized by the others, by the other monks for that kind of dedication. And he realized he still had not found his guru. He looked, even one great saint, Master Mahashaya, said to him, I am not your guru. He will come. He will come. So, the zenith of this search happened when Yoganandaji realized that things at the ashram were getting even worse. And then he writes in the autobiography, torn by spiritual anguish, I entered the attic one dawn, resolved to pray until an answer was vouchsafed. O merciful Mother of the universe, teach me thyself through visions or through a guru sent by thee. And this is that burning desire for God. For Yogananda, it was always Divine Mother. In his most intimate moments, Divine Mother, teach me thyself through visions or come to me as a guru. And that's the understanding of the guru-disciple relationship. That is the true essence of it. Guru comes to show the way to the divine, not to get in the way of the divine. The true guru never receives adoration to his or herself, but directs it to the divine. The guru is a bridge that must be crossed, and the guru is happy to disappear as long as he knows or she knows that the disciple is onward going towards God. And that is why Yoganandaji said in one of his poems, forget me if you will, but do not forget my beloved who sent me. It doesn't matter in one sense if our devotion doesn't go to the person of Yogananda, as long as it goes to, in fact, he rejected often the personality worship that would be expressed to him. As long as he only wanted to rouse that desire for the divine in the hearts of his disciples, and then show them the way, show them how to make that divine contact themselves, the path of self-realization. Self-realization. And so knowing that, he prayed to Divine Mother, show me thyself through visions or through a guru sent by thee. The passing hours found my sobbing pleas without response. So he did this for hours. And he was sobbing. That is the longing that brings the guru. In the Indian scriptures it says, when that longing is there in the heart, the guru actually comes nearby. It's like a law, a divine, a cosmic law, when the desire is that strong. It's not a casual thing or a passing thing or a light thing. It's really profound, and it pulls. The anguish of the soul pulls. So after these hours passed, he felt uplifted, and he heard a voice. Thy master cometh today. Now certainly the voice was in Bengali, a womanly voice saying that your guru will come, your Gurudev will come today. So then he went out on an errand with one of the other boys in the ashram, and then, as we know, that is when he saw Shri Yukteswar. He was like magnetically pulled to him, and they united. In a beautiful prayer in Whispers from Eternity, Yogananda writes about that. And often we use this prayer that he wrote to Shri Yukteswar, we use this for Yogananda. We change the wording a bit because it's so beautiful to hear. Because, you see, this is the beautiful thing. Every guru is also a disciple. A guru is a disciple first. Because Yogananda was a disciple of Shri Yukteswar, and we learn from him how to be a disciple. That's why we read about his early years, about his training, about his discipline, about his things. And even though there may be some rare exceptions where there's a guru maybe who doesn't have a guru in physical form, but there's that sense of being a disciple or being a devotee. There's that humility that is a very divine thing. And so we learn how to be a disciple by looking at how Yogananda was a disciple. And then we strive to attain that in our discipleship to him. And in this beautiful poem, Prayer, Whisper from Eternity, he writes, O light of my life, thou didst spread wisdom's glow over my soul path. Centuries of darkness vanished before the luminous shafts of thy help. As a naughty baby I had cried for my divine mother, and she came as thee. At that meeting, O my Guru, at thy flaming golden touch, all my questions were answered. O immortal teacher, I bow to thee as the speaking voice of silent God. I bow to thee as the divine door leading to the temple of salvation. And this is, again, that relationship that we have with Yoganandaji, those of us who are disciples of him. The speaking voice of silent God. So often Divine Mother is elusive, but she speaks to us through Guru. We have teachings, that's how we learn. Otherwise we would just be wandering through the forest with no knowledge of how to get to where we need to go, how to survive, what to eat, how to take shelter, how to be safe. That is how we all learn. And so he cried to Divine Mother, and she came as thee. And there's a beautiful verse inspired by the Guru Gita. Guru madhye stito mata, matri madhye stito guru, guru mata namastestu, matri guru namam yaham. Guru is in Divine Mother, and Mother is in Guru. I bow to Guru, I bow to Mother. That oneness is the essence of that relationship. Let us chant the beautiful song, Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. If you want to cross the ocean of delusion, think of the lotus feet of the Guru. Shaming the white lotus in purity, Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Think in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. Think in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. If you want to cross the ocean of delusion, if you want to cross the ocean of delusion, shaming the white lotus in purity, shaming the white lotus in purity, beyond all duality, Guru, image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Guru, image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Thinking in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. Thinking in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. If you want to cross the ocean of illusion, if you want to cross the ocean of delusion, shaming the white lotus in purity, shaming the white lotus in purity, beyond all duality. Guru, image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Guru, image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Thinking in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. Lotus feet of thy Guru. On these special days, January 5th, Yogananda's birth, March 7th is Mahasamadhi, perhaps other days of the year like Guru Purnima. It is also a time to reconnect with that relationship that we have and ask to see how much deeper is it, because that relationship has no limits. The love that we can receive has no limit, and the love and the gratitude that we can give has no limit. Our mind, by its very nature, creates barriers and creates divisions, and so on times like this we can remind ourselves that there is no limit to the love that Yogananda has for you, but the limitations we place, also the oneness, the communion that we can feel with him is limitless. Because this guru-disciple relationship is timeless, it's been in India since the beginning. There are many beautiful writings about it, and one of my favorites from the songs of Kabir, which are actually chants that Kabir would sing. He's from the 15th century, or 1500s I should say. And he writes about Guru, and one of these is so beautiful. And it is very inspiring, and I hope it'll be an inspiration to each of us, because there's a portion here where Kabir says, "Oh, come forth from this entanglement of these questions of the mind." He says, "Whose name do you sing and on whom do you meditate?" That alone I have been in so many discussions with people just about that. There's questions and insecurities and debates. So Whose name should I sing? Should I use this name or that name? And on whom do I meditate? And what meditation? And all of these things. And he says, oh, come forth from these entanglements. And then he goes on to talk about the Guru and the relationship and how it is always there. And if we dive into that, then so much can be given to us and so much we can attain. So I'll read it without any commentary. Just think of it and think of your own Guru. Think of Yoganandaji on this day. And it's a time to go deeper, to clear the obstructions of the mind so that we can draw nearer to him. Kabir says, O sadhu, hear my deathless words. If you want your own good, examine and consider them well. You have estranged yourself from the Creator, of whom you have sprung, and you have lost your reason. You have bought death. All doctrines and teachings are sprung from Him. From Him they grow. Know this for certain and have no fear. Hear from me the tidings of this great truth. Whose name do you sing and on whom do you meditate? Oh, come forth from this entanglement. He dwells at the heart of all things, so why take refuge in empty desolation? If you place the Guru at a distance from you, then it is but the distance that you honor. If indeed the Master be far away, then who is it else that is creating this world? When you think that He is not here, then you wander further and further away and seek Him in vain with tears. When He is far off, there He is unattainable. But where He is near, He is very bliss. Kabir says, lest His servant should suffer pain, He pervades him through and through. Know yourself then, O Kabir, for He is in you from head to foot. Sing with gladness and keep your seat unmoved within your heart. Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of the Guru. Or the other chant we sing, night has flown, dawn has come, wake my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, think ye of thy Guru's lotus feet. Something that Sri Dayamata would say so often that inspired me so much, that Yoganandaji would say to her, Master would say, God is as near to you as your thought allows Him to be. And she would say that also about Master. He is as near to you as your thought allows Him to be. And so let us, with our thought, our heart, allow Him to be near. Nearest of the near, dearest of the dear. For the Guru wants nothing. He wants nothing. He lacks nothing. He needs nothing. He only wants to give love, to give light, to show the way, and to encourage you, us, to make that contact, that communion with our true self and with our divine, and that union. That is all. So the closer He is to us, the more we allow and receive, the more that will happen. This is the opportunity on a day like this. There's, of course, when He was in form, they loved to worship, not worship, but offer flowers to His feet and have a birthday cake and all of these kinds of things. But for us now in this esoteric divine celebration, really the way is to inwardly draw nearer, and for our mind and heart to allow Him to be near, not to worship not to honor the distance that we imagine, not to have reservations up. And that brings me to this next reading that I would like to share of beautiful words that he again is talking about his own discipleship, and these are the clues or the guidance for us on how to be. What is discipleship? Because we didn't grow up, many of us, with this concept of what guru is, and so we wonder, well, what does that term mean? Master. Well, does that mean I'm a slave? You have slave and master. Or do I just believe in him and he will lift me up to God? Kind of like this idea of the prophet, the savior. But it's different. It's in the Indian tradition is where this comes from. And it is based on friendship. Friendship. Friendship is the free choice of the heart, and that is what Yogananda writes about when he writes about different forms of divine love, different expressions of divine love. He says that friendship is the grandest relationship of all human loves. And it is the grandest because of that free choice of the heart. Two individual souls that freely choose to befriend one another and to love one another. There's no compulsion of instinct, of social custom, of any other motive aside from free choice. And many of us draw to and choose a friend because we have something in common. We have some inexplicable liking, and we want to be around that person. That person feels the same way about us. And that same friendship can manifest between a parent and a child, or between a husband and wife, between lovers. Now, of the different types of friendship, the guru-disciple is the highest friendship. And why? Here's what he writes. The relationship between guru and disciple is the greatest expression of love and friendship because it is unconditional, divine friendship based on a shared singular goal, the desire to love God above all else. That is what makes this friendship unique. Because, and I'm going to speak now directly about Yoganandaji, this is his day, and for me this is more close to my heart to talk in this way. That his only goal, his only desire, his only reality is Divine Mother. He's God. Every motive, just like Lahiri Mahashaya said to him, your body is his temple. Every thought must never deviate from that divine consciousness. That's the level that he's at. So I know, without a doubt, that that's his one goal, to love God beyond everything else. And I have that desire too. We all do. Not to the same intensity or to the same degree, but that desire is there. So my desire became strong enough, just like all of us, that desire became strong enough, that longing for truth, for divine, that it drew together this friendship. Unconditional divine friendship based on a shared singular goal, the desire to love God above all else. There's no other reason, there's no other attraction, there's nothing else that we hold in common. The disciple bears his soul to the master, and the master bears his soul to the disciple. An equal bearing of the soul, how beautiful. There is nothing hidden between them. Even In other noble forms of friendship, there is sometimes diplomacy, but the friendship of the guru-disciple relationship is taintless. The guru-disciple relationship is love in its supreme form. And then he talks about, he retells the story about how after he met Sri Yukteswar and received Diksha, initiation, and they both mutually chose each other, where Yoganandaji accepted, and he said, Sri Yukteswar looked at him and said, I give you my unconditional love. Will you give the same to me? And Yoganandaji said, I do. Yes, I do. Then he said, but on one condition will I surrender my life to you, that you promise to reveal God to me. That is my one desire. And they had an hour-long verbal tussle until finally Sri Yukteswar said, your wish is mine. And then at that point, then Yoganandaji said, I now submit willingly to you, because it's being held in unconditional love, and in your promise that you will help show me the way to God. You will reveal that. You will help me. And that is the sanctification, the sanctity of the divine relationship. And once that is established, then there's nothing hidden. There's no diplomacy. But after that divine meeting, 6 months later, Yogananda still had his burning desire to go to the Himalayas, so he left. He left in search of a yogi who would guide him to some place in the Himalayas where he could meditate uninterruptedly. Realizing his mistake, he came back weeks later, and Sri Yukteswar was not angry with him. And he said to him, I do not expect anything from others, so their actions cannot be in opposition to the wishes of mine. I would not use you for my own ends. I am happy only in your own true happiness. That is the divine love. I will not use you for my own ends. My happiness is in your happiness. This is what Sri Yukteswar said to Yogananda. And Yogananda said, when he said that, I fell at his feet and I cried. For the first time, there is someone who truly loves me. He said, I had never imagined anyone could be so interested in me. He loved me for myself. He wanted perfection for me. He wanted me to be supremely happy. That was his happiness. He wanted me to know God, to be with the Divine Mother for whom my heart longed. Was that not divine love that he expressed? To wish constantly to guide me on the path of goodness and love? So that is the potential of this relationship. And many of us who have been cultivating, deepening this relationship for many years, it never ends. That love can be deeper. The oneness can be greater. The culmination of this friendship and this divine love is different for each one of us, because each one of us is unique, and we will have a unique relationship with him. But someone who inspired me tremendously was Rajarsi Janakananda, also known as Saint Lin, because he expressed the guru-disciple relationship in such a real way from his own experience, and especially when he spoke after Paramahansa Yogananda left his body. So he was communing with the formless guru, just like all of us have to do now. We don't have the form. And some years after Yogananda's passing, like in 1953 or 54, he said, this is Rajarsi, what every soul really wants is simply to become one with Spirit. We yearn to be that life, that joy, that love, which Master brings to us. When I say anything about that life, I feel the presence of Master. He is here. It is impossible for me to speak without feeling His joy, the joy of Master's presence. He is not a body. He is not a mind. He is spirit. He is life. He is right here. I don't care to talk much. I enjoy being in this life, this spirit, this reflection of God that Master brings to us. It is His joy that I feel. He brings us this joy, this great power of spirit. And that love of Master's, that love surpassing human understanding, is the love of God. That love is ours. That love is spirit. Then he said, know this power that Master is manifesting. It is real. It is not a matter of imagination or of mere intellectual speculation. It is the eternal foundation of your true being. You must know it. Master brings you the way. When you receive Him, you will lift yourself into the light, the grace, the wisdom of God. Again, even Rajasi knew this understanding that Master shows the way. And through His help and lifting, and through what flows through Him, we lift ourselves. We are lifted into self-realization, into oneness, into the divine. Because that is what He does. It's not about worshipping Yogananda and just staying there in that sort of attached, limited relationship. It's not to say that we're not devoted to Him, but it's that understanding, and in the way that Rajasi writes it is, and that is it, to just be in that presence, to just be in that presence. And so, on this holy day, in this is an opportunity, and I think it's evening time when this is being broadcast. So after this, I hope that you will take this into a special meditation and be with Him. And many of us are alone, and it's a wonderful time, a wonderful time. I know it's a difficult time. We are being forced into solitude, forced into renunciation, so obviously we don't like it. But the soul is rejoicing when there is this kind of intimacy of relationship between soul and spirit. Brother Anandamoy often would say, never meditate alone. And he wasn't just saying this about group meditation. He wasn't saying meditate with others, although that's very important if we have the fortune, the good luck of finding some other souls that we can meditate with. That's wonderful. But what he was saying to us, never meditate alone, meaning be in the presence, be with Master, be with God, be with Divine Mother. In one letter to a disciple in India, so Yoganandaji was in America and he wrote back to a disciple. Can you imagine how hard it must have been for them? Knowing their guru is in America, they can't go see him. So he wrote in this letter and said, when you practice Kriya Yoga with the love of Divine Mother in your heart, know that I am with you in spirit. And I always held on to this because that is our fate, is that we cannot go where He is, but He comes to us where we are. And through the gift, because again the Guru shows the way, and so the way for us is Kriya Yoga, and all that encompasses, not just the various techniques, but the full life of Kriya Yoga that it encompasses, of service, practicing the presence, of introspection, of a devotional loving relationship with the divine, all of it. But specifically in that inner communion, because he's a yogi, so this is a yoga sadhana, this is a path of yoga. When you are practicing Kriya Yoga with the love of Divine Mother in your heart, right? That is so essential. That has to always be there, that love. Then he said, know that I am with you in spirit. So after this recording, I hope that you can then go into your little cave, your meditation space, and just be with him. And just be with him. No need to, again, like Kabir said, if you put the Guru at a distance, it is but the distance that you honor. So he's in your room. He's there. He is the nearest of the near, the dearest of the dear. He is as close to you as your thoughts allow him to be. And to just be with him. Maybe read one of his whispers from eternity, because he said, when I am gone, read my whispers from eternity. Eternally through it I shall speak to you. Sing one of his chants, or just say his name over and over again. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru. Yoganandaji, Paramahansaji. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru. And affirm and feel that he is there. Do not be alone, be with him. And in that relationship, he only wants us to commune, to be with God. So there's always, it's in one sense, in a beautiful way, it's impossible to only be with Yogananda, with Guru, because Guru always brings God in the dearest form to you. And he knows you and loves you and respects that individuality. So for you, maybe it's the Self with a capital S, the absolute formless spirit, the one reality. For some of you, it may be Divine Mother. It may be the Father God. It may be Krishna, it may be Shiva, it may be Christ, whatever form that you hold to be as God. He kindles that, awakens that, and brings that into focus. So bring him close as our thoughts allow him to be. And then we can offer our gratitude, our love and devotion. Thank you, Guru. And however that comes, in words or just a feeling of deep gratitude, and then receive. That is what Rajasi would say. Receive. Be receptive to that love and illumination, because the Guru removes darkness so that we can know ourselves. Guru, that is the role, that is the function. So I will just close with some chants. First, some verses in Sanskrit of the Guru Gita, which speak of what the Guru is, these sacred verses. And then a chant, one or two chants from Yoganandaji, or to him, that we can feel. From the Guru Gita, I bow to the Divine Guru, who is like Shiva, the cause of the universe, who is the bridge over the ocean of delusion, and who is the master of all knowledge. The Guru uses the eye salve, like a medicine, the eye salve of knowledge to clear the vision of one who is blinded by ignorance. I bow to the Divine Guru. By your reality, the world is real. By your light, the world is illumined. And by your joy, people are joyous. I bow to the Divine Guru. The Guru reveals the consciousness which pervades the entire universe. I bow to the Divine Guru. The Guru is eternal, peaceful, pure and transcendent, beyond sound vibration, beyond thought, beyond time. I bow to the Guru. The Guru awakens the power of self-knowledge within us that burns up the karmas acquired through countless lifetimes. I bow to the Divine Guru. Etave jagatameva samsara navasetave prabhave sarva vidyanam shambhave gurave namaha ajnanatirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha yat satyena jagat satyam yat prakashena bhati tat yadanandena nandanti tasmai shri gurave namaha Akhandamandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha Chaitanyam shashvatam shantam vyomatitam niranjanam Nadabindu kalatitam tasmai shri gurave namaha Aneka janma samprapta sarvakarma vidahine swatma jnana prabhavena tasmai shri gurave namaha Nityam Brahma Nirakaram Nirgunam Bodhayat Param Sarva Brahma Nirabhasam Deepo Deepantaram Yata Om Shri Gurave Namaha Feeling the divine presence of the Guru and the unconditional love. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. The Guru's grace illuminates our path no matter what karmas are before us, and that is the unconditional love of the Guru. Doesn't matter what darkness is in our lives from our past karma and our desires. Our job is but one, to make the Guru the pole star, to keep focused, to hold the wheel of the ship of our life no matter what's happening, no matter what karmas we're dealing with, no matter what struggles of our ego and our desires and our body, everything. We just hold fast to that pole star. And the light of that pole star and that grace shows us the path. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. 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 And now I invite you to visualize, if you wish, sitting at the feet before the presence of Paramahansa Yogananda. His living presence is in fact here, as close as our thought allows, in our hearts and physically in front of us, in the astral divine presence, in the omnipresence. And we can go forward and offer rose petals from our heart of gratitude and devotion, and receive the touch of love from His outstretched hand as He touches our spiritual eye and touches our heart center, bestowing upon us the divine love, illuminating consciousness, joy of Divine Mother that flows perfectly, uninterruptedly, unobstructed through Him into our body, mind, and soul. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru, Om. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru, Om. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru, Om. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om. Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai 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 Mahavatar Babaji Jai Guru Jai Mahavatar Babaji Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru 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 Jai Guru Jai Lahiri Mahashaya Jai Guru Jai Lahiri Mahashaya Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru 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 Jai Guru Jai Swami Shri Yukteswar Jai Guru Jai Swami Shri Yukteswar Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru 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 Jai Guru Jai Paramahansa Yogananda Jai Guru Jai Paramahansa Yogananda Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Paramahansa Yogananda Jai Guru Jai Paramahansa Yogananda Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai Jai Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma 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 Guru Madhye Sthito Mat Matre Madhye Sthito Guru Guru Mata Namastestu Matre Guru Namam Naham Guru Lord, I bow to Thee. Guru Lord, I bow to Thee. O Divine Guru, I bow to Thee as the speaking voice of silent God. I bow to Thee as the divine door leading to the temple of salvation. O Divine Mother, we are grateful for Thy many blessings that flow through our Divine Gurus. May Thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken Thy love in all hearts. We are Thy children, and we long to know Thee. Free us from all earthly obstacles and lead us to the shores of fulfillment and liberation in Thee. Om Peace. Amen.